Hello, this is Steve from ObjectRiver. Today we're going to be showing you a demonstration using ObjectRiver's REST Web Services Toolkit. We're going to be generating SalesForce code, and the demo is going to show a Java client to Salesforce server. This is the Java development environment called IntelliJ. We're in an example called developers. We have this Salesforce directory with the source and classes empty, so there's no code here. This example is one of our developers examples with a lot of web services with complexity, lists and beans, enums, and etc. A lot of different options. We use this for testing or even building new mappings to new languages. Up here, I'm going to configure a new compiler instance. Right now, this is a compiler instance for generating Java. I'm going to duplicate that. And we're just going to change that to Apex, which is the Java-like language of Salesforce. We're going to tell the compiler we want to generate Apex. And we're going to change the output directory to this SFDC directory. I'm going to say OK. Now we've configured a new instance for the metadata compiler. We're going to run it. This is communicating with AWS in the cloud, and now we're generating Salesforce. As you can see, this example, we generated about 3,000 lines of code and 50 different files. Again, this is a complex example, one of our most complex. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to configure another plugin. And this plugin, well, first we're going to create a new module, which is like a kind of another project within IntelliJ. And this module, we're going to be using this technology called Illuminated Cloud. This is a company that has built a plugin that's a complete soup to nuts integration of Salesforce into IntelliJ. So here we're going to configure this. I'm going to tell it I want to connect to SalesForce. That's my Salesforce Cloud instance. We've done that. I'm going to tell it that we're in the SFDC directory right here. I don't want to retrieve all the metadata up there. I've got more stuff up there. And now this is going to regenerate a symbol table for this technology called Illuminated Cloud. It's going to actually take all the metadata that's up there and all the new metadata that we generated, and it's going to build an offline symbol table. So you could run this technology without being connected to the cloud. It wants a reload of the project. It's currently reloading IntelliJ. So we've reloaded it, and now we can look at the classes that we generated. This is the generated source code. This endpoint that's called iDevelop. These are the Salesforce web service calls or microservice calls that we're generating here. One thing to mention about ObjectRiver's implementation of their REST is we mock the client and the server. So we're going to be able to run the client without creating any code, and it's going to just send random data up to the server. The server is then going to respond with random data in its implementation. So here we have the classes, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send these classes up to Salesforce, where they're going to be deposited in the Salesforce repository for execution. We're going to go to Illuminated Cloud, and we're going to say deploy all metadata. This is taking all these files and it's moving it up to the Salesforce cloud and compiling them for execution. take a little bit. Cloud's a little slow today. All right, that generated our classes up in the cloud. Now we're going to go to, I have these Java tests were previously generated in an example, and this one test will call all the services. Now, what we got to do is this in the client, we can say we want to change this to SalesForce, and it's true, okay, for executing this in the cloud, and I've got everything configured here. The next thing, another thing I wanted to show you, and this is something we're going to do in another video. How do we configure that server? There's something called a connected app that we have to configure on the Salesforce side, and that's going to be like another video. Another thing we have is we generate down on the client side this developer key, and this contains information that you get when you're creating this connected app up in Salesforce. That will be in another video. So this will show how to configure the server side to accept this code coming from the client. So here we go. I'm going to run this this client app, and it's now configured to connect to the server. So what you're seeing here is all these microservice requests communicating to the Salesforce server. The Salesforce server is returning random data, and this is this mocking feature. So we've basically done the client and the server without coding any code. And in other videos, basically we show that you go up on the server, you fill out your implementation. Obviously, you want to return something other than random data. So this is our Salesforce video, and look for the next video to be coming to show you how to configure that connected app. Thank you.